All the Lovers in the Night passes within our own alienation through love. And it's only through this that we get to this radical fine point of freedom and creation that happens within the title, All the Lovers in the Night. Hi, I'm Nicholas Crawford. I'm the author of Where We've Made It Dark, a philosophical literary apocalypse with zombies. And here we talk about fiction as philosophy. So the structure here is very similar to My Year of Rest and Relaxation, but with that we are, in the shoes of a character who can't connect to the world. It's fighting our own enjoyment to a point where it's not enjoyable, but it breaks us to a radical point. Here there's more of a buffer with the inability to connect with the world. We are a little bit at a remove with this character. But the thing we're struggling with here is love itself, the trauma of actually loving someone and finding yourself out there in the other person, the way in which you are just magnetized to this person. The protagonist is a proofreader, and with her proofreading, she is refusing to fall into fantasy or connect with the story. She's just looking at the structure. But that doesn't give her much of a connection with the world itself. And when she goes freelance at the beginning of the book, she turns to alcoholism to gain a sense of self, to have some connection with the world. So we aren't falling into the alcoholism like it's Fear and Loathing. It's not at all enjoyable, but it's a necessary support structure for her to connect with the world around her and get a sense of, this oceanic feeling, this sense of warmth. So what that shows is, the structural necessity of something like that, but it's clearly an ersatz, stand-in for love. And what we're dealing with is an improper love object. He's in his 50s, she's in her 30s, and they just have these conversations that are very close to platonic about light and physics and reality itself. So our own involvement with reality. This is very similar to Megan Hunter's Days of Light too, where we're dealing with light and physics as ontology and our connection with the world as we live life itself, as we connect to life itself. And on the other side of this is this friend who's youthful, attractive, vivacious, her coworker, and there's a love and investment through that is rather super egoic. So the protagonist gets her energy from this friend, and the friend feeds off of her as this sort of blank slate, basically. And in order to fall in love, we fill in the shoes of this vivacious friend who's, popular with the guys, basically. And we literally wear her clothing and go out on a date at one of her restaurants, etc., in order to properly connect with and love our love interest. We see how this sort of friend structure is necessary in order for us to fall in love. We need a third party here. Now things reach an interesting climax. We get to the trauma of both the love and this friend relationship. I won't detail that. But it does reach a very structurally important point. And we genuinely fall into a unique freedom. We get on the other side of that. We connect with the reality around us in a very pure, clean, human way. And that's what's really enjoyable and important about this book. Despite not being so dramatic as My Year of Rest and Relaxation, this is very much at the same level. If we divide modernism and postmodernism between the alienation is on the outside and we're structured with the alienation right there against us, whereas postmodernism would be viewing the alienation as our own and something we're fully involved in and a part of ourselves, Kawakami really, I think, straddles that line between these two approaches. Weird Girl is strictly the latter, embracing the alienation directly. We aren't getting to the same Silent Hill quality of language that you have in Breasts and Eggs. You don't have anything that's truly bizarre in this book either. But the quality of the writing is just as superb, and we're still engaging alienation from within the simplest of language. That's what's so interesting about Kawakami's writing, and I think it makes it exemplary. How is it possible to be this weird within saying normal things? So yeah, despite being so quiet, I think it's a very important work.